Hello and welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today I'll be talking about none other than the White Ninja Falconzord. Now, White Ninja Falconzord. Hey guys, I am back here again, and if you guys notice, my voice is a little bit strained, and I don't know how it might sound to you guys, but it is really messed up. Why? Well, I have gotten sick recently, and it just really messed up my entire talking matter, and I've been coughing and hacking it up, so bear with me on that, guys. Thank you very much, and all the support you guys have given me throughout this entire channel. But let's get right to the true story of what we're here for, the story of the White Ninja Falconzord. Now, its story is in two different timelines going on here, guys. Now, the first timeline was the movieverse that was first introduced with Ivan Ooze, and very different from everything that had come on here and there. Now, in that verse, Tommy and the rest of the group had gone to another planet to gain their animal spirits and connect over to the power there and unleashing the different Zords, and that's where he was able to obtain his Zord, which was slightly different from the one that we see in the TV show. How was it slightly different, besides the fact they fought Ivan Ooze there? Well, no, because he was able to shoot rockets out of the first little wing attachments of the Falconzord itself, while in the TV show, his only comes from the fingertip, well, like the wingtips in truth, so it throws you off right then and there. Now, so that is the end story of that movie verse. Now let's go to the TV verse with the true story of the Falconzord that we all know and love. Now, after Rito Revolto shows up and destroys the Thunder Zords, the Rangers need a new, well, major weapon arsenal going on. And where do they go? Well, the magnificent sage that is Zordon of Eltar and Alpha 5 hand over a map and basically lead these new Rangers to possibly the Temple of Power that is hidden somewhere in the Desert of Despair. That is where they meet none other than Ninjor. Yes, Ninjor, the Son Goku-like character who flies around on a floating golden nimbus and can turn into the size of Megazords. He is the forger of the power coins and untold knowledge of the Morphing Masters itself. Now, when they get there, he starts just basically helping them out any way they can, though at first it takes a little bit because, Ninjor doesn't really see these kids as, well, necessary or even worthy of the power. Eventually, though, they do come to an understanding, and they are giving their new Zords. That is where we get the beautiful, the amazing, the White Ninja Falconzord. Now, every Ranger gets their own special Zord. However, the only way to truly summon the said Zords is by summoning the Falconzord. It is the main component of the entire thing. It's able to control everything, the entire summoning process of those, well, Zords themselves. So basically, if you don't have Tommy there, and you could still do everything as long as the Falconzord's there. If you didn't have the Falconzord and Tommy was there, and he can't summon the Falconzord, there's no Zords going to happen right then and there. And this happens frequently, because essentially what happens here is Forces of Darkness are getting their butts kicked, and they don't like this. Lord Zed is getting tired of it, and Rita Repulsa is also getting tired of it. They're basically nagging each other to death. Now they come with a new plan. They have a new minion. Her name is Cat. She's a human who can turn into a cat, and basically it was the perfect spy for them to send back and forth to spy on the Rangers and gain more information, as well as trick them into different occasions. Now, why they didn't need the other information when they always just seem to stare at their entire lives, I don't know, but hey, that's Cat for you. And she would be the plot device that would allow Lord Zed to steal the Falconzord from Tommy and essentially take it away from them, making them utterly powerless and unable to summon their Zords at all. Now, when it got to Lord Zed, he turned into an actual bird and put it in a cage in his throne room and covered it with a red cloth of sorts, just to show off, like, going, I'm so cool, look at me, I've got your Zord, and you can't do anything about it because I'm Lord Zed. Probably talked in a much darker tone, but you get the gist. Now, Finster would then use battle technology from the Falconzord to activate ancient Zords. Basically, they can go, yes, we can use these Zords and then destroy the Rangers with them, and also do some other things. Now, the Rangers soon gain control of those ancient Zords after the fact, will become known later as the Shogunzord, and would serve as temporary replacements to the Ninja Zords until they're able to get essentially back to the Falconzord and access their Ninja Zords here. Now, the Rangers need some more help later on after this whole thing goes down, because even though they've got the Ninja Zords, they've got the Shogunzords and everything going on, they still are having a lot of power issues, especially with the mighty magnificence of Master Vile when he arrives. Now, Billy, believing that he can increase power output by a falcon-shaped device that mimics the same Falconzord energy readings and allows the remote operations of the Ninja Megazords alongside the Shogun Megazord, he goes about and does this and goes like, this is how we can do it. We can get it, as long as we mimic this energy, we can get both the swords activated at once and get them to fight and have enough power to take down any of these dark forces that are coming out there. And it is a brilliant strategy right then and there. However, if it wasn't for Master Vile's monster, the Gobbler, who began to drain the Megazords of both their powers. Now, this is a major issue here because they had yet to retrieve the actual true Falconzord. Now, and this is when Tommy and Kat go off on their own to the moon and retrieve the Falconzord from there on out, and also retrieve by accident at the same time the Zeo Crystal that was just buried beneath it. Now, it was stored they store it in the engine room of the Falconzord as they fly away, and when essentially Gobbler takes some of Ninjor's energy, the Rangers are helpless to fight the monsters since they took so much damage and it hurt Ninjor and their power output is nearly depleted. It becomes more of an issue as time goes on. Now, the Zords are eventually defeated and banished to the M51 galaxy, but eventually the Rangers are able to save their Zords, break Gobbler's connection to the Ninjor, and the Falconzord combines with the Shogunzord for the first time into the Shogun Mega Falconzord. Now, I don't think you ever realized how important the Falconzord was, but apparently it was the key to any type of victory at all. Now, this is also around the same time that the metallic armor would show up, and they would start using it to fight off the Force of Darkness as a super power-up, something like a Super Saiyan 2x2 essentially. But it really isn't that very important when it comes to the Falconzord. Now, after this and the big battle and them doing different things, Master Vile finally gets fed up and uses an Orb of Doom, which regresses time and it turns the Rangers into kids, which makes their Zords completely kaput, and the Aquarian Rangers are forced to show up and defend Earth, while the original Rangers are meant to go through these points to age up and figure out how to get back to this whole thing. Now, during the time they use the Shogunzords, but there's a lot of things going on all over the place while the Earth Rangers are locating the Zeo Crystals and a bunch of other different things. Billy's trying to figure out a way to age himself back up. A lot of things is going on, and the Falconzord is activated by the Aquarian Rangers, because as long as there's a Falconzord, again guys, it allows for the Ninja Zords and the ultimate combination of the Shogun Mega Falconzord. Now, the device that was used to do this is eventually destroyed with the command center, and Tommy later mentions that Ninjor is back in the temple, and all the Zords are quote-unquote gone, requiring to build Billy and Zordon and Alpha 5 to build new Zords for the Zeo Rangers that are meant to come. Now, they eventually construct a device like the Falconzord remote to allow the Super Zeo Zords 5 when Tommy is missing, because eventually there is some issues here and there as time goes on. Now, they all call back to basically whatever the wavelength that is the Falconzord, it is allowed to do all these different things, and the Falconzord is eventually just kaput after a while when the command center is destroyed. However, 20 years after that, in the Draven's attack on the Rangers and attacking all different dimensions to summon and take over Rangers to have his own private army, Tommy summons forth the Falconzord from an unknown dimension. Now, it is believed by some that the unknown dimension is the morphing grid itself, and that since time and space inside the morphing grid is relative, by saying this, that at any point the grid can summon forth things to put it out there. That's why some rangers, even though their armors or stuff destroyed early on, at some point it was considered all at the same time, and they can gain access to that power again, even if it's just for a short period of time. So basically it's shown that he basically shows up and does the final blow against the dark forces that is Draven, and he was basically, he goes off and disappears again from then on out. Now, it's possibly that it still exists in the Morphing Grid waiting to be summoned again, because technically speaking, remember, Tommy does have the Master Morpher, so all his Zords technically could be called on at any point, but the Falconzord is different from all of other Tommy's Zords. It is a power source for the Ninja Zords. It is a power source, or icon of a power source. Like, they go, this is the perfect power source, what we need for all these other models that we did. If it was for the Shogun Zord, it was for also the Zord of the Super Zeo Zord 5. So, all these different things, it had a full length of, like, its entire legacy. Now, there's a weird storyline of, like, where it went and its entire storyline, but it has a legacy unlike other Zords who are just tossed apart and forgotten about. It helped in so many different levels because of its unique power source, even though it was also technically a drawback, but it allowed Billy to basically go, yes, this is an issue, but if we had its same wavelength, we can accomplish so much more with it. And they did. They really did. They were able to go through the entire Season 3 and go on to the Zeo Rangers with that same power source, able to combine things when Tommy or another Ranger was missing to get everything accomplished that was needed to do and do some really good battle against the Forces of Darkness. Probably not what you expected when you joined this video and going, okay, what is the story of the Falconzord? Well, it is actually not much of a storyline, but what of its legacy is that it's just a constructed device that's able to do the same thing, but better, in truth. Now, the Falconzord could still be out there, guys. It has so many different things. It has rocket launchers on its sides. But on the TV show, it is on its tips of its wings. It shoots out a grand total of 8 or so different rockets by itself, and it combines. When it combines with the Ninja Mega Falconzord, it is essentially the backpack and the head. Now, in the movie, it is assumed that they can work without each other, but again, it goes the same process there in the movie, that they are all summoned together, so as long as one's there, they're all good. But remember, guys, if it isn't for the Falconzord, none of the rest of this would work at all. So even though it is only the headpiece and the wings, the rest of it would not work without it. Now, on the Shogun Falconzord, it's very different. Now, it slots between the arms and the torso and wraps around, basically creating like a belt of sorts, and the like to connect to the back of its wings. Now, it attacks with its own special cannons and just fires like crazy. Because if you see right here on the sides of the Falconzord, there are those cannons that were originally there, and just goes pop, 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 pop. No, it's great sound effects I have for when I have. I'm dying. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna ignore that entirely. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I learned a lot because I didn't realize I didn't remember all these different things, that it was essentially all a power source mainly, rather than an actual iconic piece of just the Zord. I always remembered it as, oh, it's Tommy's Zord and it attached to the back and flies around. But when I started rereading this and also watching some episodes, I was like going, wait a second, no. Apparently, it has a much more deeper storyline, and a lot of the episodes, it was captured and put away by the Lord Zed, who realized it was a major issue to deal with, and they did deal with it. So I hope you like the legacy of the Falconzord and all it has done for you. Now, there are other Falconzord that are coming up, and I'll be talking about those very soon. Hope to see you guys soon, and have a good one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to comment down if you didn't like this video, or did you learn something. Believe me, I understand completely. Have a good one, and may the power protect you always.